Episode 654 of the Too Thick Pod. I am driving the ship today, and I know you're going to bust my balls for saying that, but that's what we're doing. Follow me, Jeremy at Reckless Cards, and I'm joined by Manny, who I believe there might be a name change coming.
Yeah, I want to change my Instagram. I realized this weekend that I'm like telling people, yeah, I'm Manny Flores on IG, and they don't associate it to a card account. So I want to try to change it to a card account. So if you're listening and have any ideas, DM me because I'm willing to change.
Yeah, right now, Manny Penis Face is leading the way. I don't know if we're going to be able to bring that home, but right now it's definitely front runner.
Is that a big nose, Joe?
No, it's just you being a penis head.
How are you?
I am well, man. It's exciting. Damn near everybody that attended the Nationals, 3/4 dead. They have COVID. They're sick. And if they didn't get COVID, they've got monkeypox or scurvy or whatever the hell was going on in that beautiful, majestic wonderland known as Atlantic City. And I'd be remiss if I didn't remind you that this is your home for all things sports, card, and levity. This is your weekly release, so I appreciate everybody jumping on.
Oh man, Atlantic City was so much fun. Getting to hang out with you guys was the ultimate goal of mine, and it was actually really fun. I learned so much from you guys. But yeah, I got a little bit of mixture of COVID. I don't know what it is. It's like if you put it all together, it's in me because my eardrums have been like plugged ever since I left Atlantic City. I can't get it out of my ear. I think it might be a cockroach in my ear, to be honest with you.
Possibly. You're the first person I ever met that got herpes in Atlantic City and it messed with their ears.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was an incredible time. And I will tell you that if you're looking for a very specific Jeremy and Courtney experience, you're going to have to listen to the Jeremy and Courtney tale because that experience was completely independent and unique relative to the Too Thick experience. And so, like, as we go in, we'll go day by day and break it down for the people. Based on what you were expecting, did this show fall short, meet, or exceed expectations?
So it was my first one, and I walk in, and I'm like, when you first walk in, you're like, this isn't even that big. You have to like turn a corner, and then it just like opens up. It's insane. Like it met expectations. There's a lot of people complaining about the Wi-Fi or, actual Atlantic City, but the actual convention and meeting people was amazing. I got to meet so many people during the week, especially like Mrs. Squirts, the breaker, and her husband.
He's my guy.
He's awesome. And then I got to meet Cousin Collectibles. They were awesome. We were going back and forth with Eagles and Cowboys talk, but it was fun. Like I said, it sucked that the internet was off, and everyone I talked to were like, let's bring it back to Chicago. But if you had the knowledge of cards, you kind of were favored in this national.
Yeah, I think it's easy. Like people in this day and age and generation, it's easy for them to gravitate towards the negative, right? When something bad happens, it spreads like wildfire. Something good happens and it's just not sexy or fun. So It's easy for people to dwell on the bullshit, the negativity.
Yep.
So I want to know, dude, it's your first show ever. It's in Atlantic City. You bring your beautiful, lovely, smarter than you wife. You get to spend time with her. We're crossing paths throughout the show. You, me, the ladies. We're having a good time. So overall, given on a scale of 1 to 10, the whole experience, taking everything into account, where are you at with it?
I would say 10. It was awesome. Like people were, like you said, were complaining about everything, but meeting the people and going there and experiencing an actual national, like my biggest show besides that's the Ship Shawana show. And that was amazing, but that's nothing compared to the national. It seemed like, so like the first day I was really overwhelmed. Like, I'm like, what am I doing here? I don't have internet. I can't I don't know what to buy. And I don't know if you noticed that. Like I was like clinging on to you. Like Jeremy, I have no idea what I'm doing here. Like that's what was going through my head. Um, I saw like the Stranger Thing booths was zero cool. I'm seeing like Fanatics has their booth, Tops, Panini. I was like overloaded with like emotions during the show, to be honest with you.
Well, I was gonna, you know what? I was proud of you because I could tell you were a little antsy. You were itching. You wanted to make some action. You wanted to buy. You wanted to sell. You wanted to trade. Didn't really have a clear at the beginning. You didn't really have a clear game plan of what you were trying to do,
Not at
right?
all.
And isn't it true? Like, and I'll get into this later, but I had a very specific game plan. I was adamant that I was going to be diligent, but you get involved in it, and all of a sudden, it's easy for the game plan to go out the window because it is just an energy unlike anything else that you can describe when it comes to a card related event.
Yeah, it's like you played sports. You have that game plan, and then all of a sudden you're in the game, and you're like, man, everyone's moving, and you just seem like you're slower than everyone, and that's what it felt like. I was like, what? Like it was just so over intense. Like I'm on the breaker side, and then I'm walking all the way to the new seller side, and I'm like, I don't know where to start. I was gonna start row by row, and that didn't work. So everything went out the window the first day, and then every day afterwards, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start. I'm going to start doing this game plan. And then I walk in, out the window.
Well, without giving it away, I will say I'm proud of you because I felt like you remained pretty disciplined because there was a couple times I was like, come on, bro. Don't confuse activity with accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
Figure out what you want to do. Be specific and deliberate in your actions. And, one thing that we talk about is, like spending some time walking the room, understand who can work with, understand who has deals to be had. And I think Wade, I don't think you pulled the trigger until maybe Saturday to do anything. And there was a lot of discussion beforehand. And so I think one thing that you did really well, and not to steal your story, but with the lack of quality internet throughout the venue, you took the time to make sure that you had all of your stuff comped that you were going to use to either trade or sell.
Yep.
And then you took screenshots. And so it made when it was time for you to transact, you were locked in, ready to go.
Yeah. We could talk. That was my first day being there. So we could start on the Thursday. Wednesday I was there, but the good old airplane company didn't bring my suitcases in until like 8 o'clock. So I stayed at a hotel room.
If you recall last week, I said, Manny, what airline are you flying? And you said, I don't know. I've never heard of this brand, but it's beautiful, Jay.
No.
They're going to fly. They're going to pick me up. They're going to bring all of our stuff. So we're at the venue Wednesday. We're doing hobby night school. Courtney's just freaking it, doing it in the Women of the Hobby booth. And I'm like, where are you at, Manny? And you're like, oh, I don't have luggage.
My cards are in there.
Yeah, everything's missing.
Yeah. So we went, we had like this plan where the airport basically took our luggage to the hotel. All we had to do was get to the hotel. But like I said, they called us and said there's only one person that's basically delivering every luggage from our plane. And it took them 4 hours, 5 hours. So I missed the whole Wednesday show. I was pretty bummed about that. But then after the show, we went to the collectible event and the cigar night. And that was amazing. We met so many people there. You got to meet Lamim James, and you talked to him a little bit, didn't you?
Yeah, I met Lamim. Actually, in person, I met him earlier when we got to the show. Met him in Lefko, like right when we walked in. I know we've chatted with Lamim in the past, but I didn't realize it was truly going to be a who's who in the industry at this event.
Yep. It was.
And I will tell you one thing that you absolutely do a million times better than me, and I aspire to be like you one day, is you are a freaking social butterfly. You will talk to anybody. You will engage in sincere, genuine conversation. And I struggle. I struggle to do the whole small chit-chat thing, or if I'm not interested, I can't pretend to be interested.
Yeah.
And so I was just I just sat back, and you and Courtney were working the room, and I was like, well, what the hell? There is no point. I'm just going to sit here and smoke a cigar and drink.
Yeah. Hey, you talked to a couple people. I saw you over there with Bro Namath and them. But yeah, that party was fun. And then Thursday was my first time actually going to the National. We actually had a ticket for Kaylee, so she came with me. And my game plan for Thursday was let's sell some of the like lower end or try to see what I could get out of my cards that I brought. So, like you said, I went before I even went in there, um I was screenshotting my comps and everything because I heard rumors that the internet was kind of bad. So I had comps for the dealers, and I was going table to table, trying to figure out where I could get the best deal. And we found the one that had the best deal was ABC Collectibles, and they're on Whatnot. And that was my mindset. I was like, I'm not going Thursday. I'm gonna go look to see if I find anything, but I want to sell some car to get some more cash flow for like Saturday, Sunday. And my reasoning was we're all degenerates in the hobby, right? We're in Atlantic City. These dealers are gonna my thought, they're gonna gamble for like 4 days and lose a ton of money. So on Saturday and Sunday, they're gonna be selling at discounted rate because they just want money in return because they blew it all at the high blackjack table. So that was my game plan for the whole time. I kind of stuck with that, like you said. Bought my first card on Saturday, but Thursday, ABC Collectibles, they're awesome. They gave 75%, and what they were telling me is they were doing buying for repacks. So that was one thing that I kind of learned on Thursday is the people that have repacks, they buy at a higher percentage than normal dealers.
That is one thing that I heard consistently throughout. And relative to last year's national, where you could walk up to any dealer and they would buy damn near everything that you had. This year, the dealers were very much more selective. But the one thing that everybody was consistent with was the repack guys were paying strong, 80 to 90% of comps.
Yep.
I was, it's tough because it's your first national. It's tough because everybody around you is buying and selling. Everybody's throwing around 6-figure and 7-figure cards like it's nothing. And to remain disciplined, because I do believe ultimately our thesis came true that all of a sudden Saturday and Sunday, when people maybe didn't sell as much as they thought they were, or they spent too much money at the Borgata or the Trop or wherever they were gambling, all of a sudden some of those cards that you couldn't even sniff all of a sudden became very, 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 very available. Yep. And you, as somebody who wasn't gambling, who was just walking the tables, understanding who you can deal with, I think you were in a very good spot that when it was time to pull the trigger, I think you made 2 deals that happened really easy and pretty damn smooth.
Yeah, and that was thanks to you, of course. But like that, what was going on in my head on Thursday? I was kind of like bummed, like do I know what I'm doing in this hobby? Because there's so many people that knew what they were doing on Thursday, buying, selling. Like, for example, I don't want to spoil anything with you and Courtney, but you guys made a huge purchase and had a great day on Thursday. And in my head, I'm like, I can't even sell a card. Like, I was getting like very frustrated because we were hanging out most of the time. And I was like, what am I doing here? Should I even have came? But towards the end of the week, it was a little bit better. Friday.
Can I touch on that real quick?
Yeah.
I've felt that many times being in the hobby, many times walking a show, many times being set up at a show. And the one thing that I really don't like about the hobby is not everybody, but there's a lot of people who know everything, are better than you, have better cards than you. And it's like, it's completely whack because those are the same people that are like, we hate flippers, buy what you like, all that shit. And so like when you start thinking about it, you're like, man, some of this stuff kind of contradicts. Like, what the hell am I doing? Is this a smart play? And then I take it a step further. I'm like, well, if somebody's selling me a card, if it's a good card, why is it available?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And so I was really happy to see you push through that, because just because somebody else has a success or gets a card they like doesn't negatively impact what you're doing. And I'm glad that you were able to fight through whatever you were feeling and get to it, because ultimately come Saturday after you made your purchases, I felt like you were a little bit of a peacock. I thought you had a little bit of strut and you were feeling pretty good. And I thought they were dope. From where you started to where you at, I think you, in my opinion, you leveled up.
Yeah, thank you. And it's like, I don't want people to think I'm like an envious person. Like, I was so excited that you got the deal, but when people are doing, when people are doing deals and you're not, you're like, what the heck's wrong with me? And I did learn a lot about myself talking to a lot of people during this week, not just card related, but like personal related, and what I could change to actually do deals in front of like actually one-on-one instead of on social media, because I'm not used to that world. I'm used to like selling on eBay, selling on Instagram. I'm not used to selling in person or having someone. When you go to a card show, they try to belittle your cards and try to use comps against you, even if it doesn't even make sense. They'll try to nitpick stuff, and I've learned that. And maybe I should start nitpick. I'm too nice to do that. I'm just looking at recent comps, so I learned a lot on that as well.
I think it was a tremendous. I think you learned more than you will ever know. And I think a lot of the stuff that you learned is going to be applicable, because some of the stuff that I did this year, a year ago, wasn't even an option unless I was just dipping into personal finance and breaking the bank and putting my family at risk. Never would have been an option. So there was a year of buying, selling, trading, consuming content, learning from others, checking my ego, constantly questioning, is this the right play or not the right play?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so you'll look back in 1 year from now when we are in Chicago, you know what I mean? And we better get the media pass for Too Thick.
Yeah, exactly.
For the 43rd, the kids better be there. But I mean, you'll look back and you'll be making different deals because you've evolved.
Yep.
And the people who were sitting with showcases of $100,000 cards, $1 million cards, they didn't start there. They started doing just like what you and I are doing.
Yep. And I mean, you've been in the game since you were young. I was young and then I got out of it, but when I was young, I was just collecting. I was just buying and keeping. So I've never dealt with like the actual selling process until 2019, 2020. So it's still new to me. And when I talk to people that are higher up and know their stuff, they've been in it for 20 years. And that's kind of what made me push through that week, because I was down on myself. And then I was like, okay, I'm new and this is all a learning process. So let's look at this a different way and let's go on.
So allow me to provide you some perspective, right? Because I went to the show, Courtney and myself, with no intention of buying. And we were very clear about that. We bought up to the national and we went there really for networking purposes to grow both brands, Reckless and Too Thick.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I got swept up a little bit in the card stuff, and I felt like you did such a tremendous job networking that it just shit all over me. Like, it was incredible. Yeah. So depends how you're looking. If your goal was just to go and buy cards, okay, maybe you didn't have the greatest show, but you did get some awesome cards.
Yeah.
But if it was, you created so many relationships that are going to yield results, whether it's people jumping on the pod, whether it's people being a friend when you need advice, whether it's networking opportunities down the road, whatever the case may be. It all depends on what you wanted to get out of the show. And I feel like for you, you got a couple of dope cards. Everybody loves you. They think you're a hell of a lot nicer than me. Oh, and you everybody knew like what was going on. So I think like depending on how you look at it, I think you had an incredible show.
Well, isn't it funny that we went in, like me was going in to buy cards, yours was networking, and as we go in, it's like flipped. Because when I didn't know what I was doing with the cards, I was like, you know what? I do know. I know how to talk to people. Let me network Too Thick Pod. Let me go talk to some people and tell them about the podcast. So that was something I went right back to what I was good at. And it seemed like you went right to what you're good at, is buying cards.
I mean, that's what people do naturally, right? It's hard to get outside their comfort zone. And so if I'm in a group of people that I feel comfortable, I'm the loudmouth, I'm the obnoxious one, I'll say whatever. When I have to do that little in between, when you go from stranger to you feel comfortable, I suck at it. It's terrible. I overanalyze everything that I say. Did they like that? Did she like this? Was that stupid? It just becomes so uncomfortable. Meanwhile, you're like, hey, alt, collectible, blah, 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 blah. And I was like it was overwhelming for me from a Too Thick perspective. I understood, if I knew what I was getting into, I was prepared, I was good. We would just be walking, you'd be like, hey, you're shaking hands, dapping it up with everybody. And I was like, damn, this guy's the networking guy.
Yeah. Can I tell you one story that cracked me up, and I was laughing for a while about it. So I found this when I was looking at cards trying to sell on Thursday. I found this Patrick Williams gold, and I know Jeremy likes Patrick Williams, so I took a picture, and he said, "Okay, we'll go back a different day and see if it's still there." And Courtney was in line. You guys will talk about it a little bit more. So Jeremy and me were looking at cards on Saturday. And as we're walking through like the what were they called? Like all the
aisles.
Yeah, the aisles. I'm not even saying a name, but there's someone I wanted to introduce to Jeremy. And I was like, Jeremy, come here. And I turn around and you're like half running because you're like I went back up to you. You're like, I just want to find this card. I was like, oh yeah, is that what it is?
I did want to find the card though, bro. I did. That was a very convenient excuse for me to get out of maybe potentially having an awkward, uncomfortable conversation.
It was the funniest thing in the world. I've never seen you you had that fast walk.
Dude, I was trying to get shit done, man. We had work to do.
Yeah. But yeah, Thursday I went and sold some cards. You sold some cards. Friday, gameplay. I was like, I'm gonna go in and look for say screw selling because it's people were buying at 65. Let me see what I want. And I get there at like 10, and then we met up. There was no internet service, so I didn't see you for like a couple hours. And when we met up, we were like, let's go eat. It was like 1:00. So I was there for like 3 hours. We try to find a place to eat for like 4 hours. And Jeremy was such a diva trying to find this place. We got lost in Caesars like 5 times. And I guess you could tell them where we settled to eat. And you would think we didn't bring our kids, but this is where we settled to eat.
This is how bad it was. And to Manny's point, one thing that was frustrating was you would get in and outside the venue, hey, we're walking our way over. We'll see you here. Well, the next thing you know, 2 hours go by. I've sent 20 messages, and on my end, it shows that it's sent. On your end, it shows that it's sent, but the messages aren't connecting, right? Mm-hmm. So everybody's trying to be like, hey, we're going to link up. We're going to walk the show today. We're going to be together, yada, yada, yada. So nobody ate, and so it was time to go. And so because this event was I'm going to rant for a second.
That's fine. Go ahead. I love this because I know where it's going.
I don't understand how you have a fucking event where you're utilizing 500,000 square feet of a convention center. Every single hotel is sold out. Every parking fucking structure is sold out. Yet every single restaurant is at half staff and woefully ill-prepared to deal with the amount of traffic coming through. Logistically, I don't understand that. I don't understand who ran the event, who didn't put out a bulletin that, hey, 50,000 sweaty, geeky, bad-smelling, bad pot smoke covered people are going to be in your town with money to spend. I don't understand how.
Don't talk about trees like that.
I know Trees is my guy. Tree smells good. Tree smells good. But then you have restaurants that are either next to, adjacent, or within walking distance of the damn place, and you are not prepared to deal with the amount of foot traffic coming through to get a meal. It is absolutely mind-boggling and unacceptable.
Yeah.
If your job is to manage the fucking Applebee's and you're responsible for the P&L and you have a convention center right there, one might think that you would say, hey, let's get the schedule of events. Hey, what is this National Sports Card Collected? Ding, 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 ding. Hey, convention center. Yeah, there's like 50,000 people who've already bought. Oh, shit, we better be prepared and have people. Because if I own the fucking Applebee's, whoever's managing it just cost me tens of thousands of dollars because we couldn't service anybody that was coming through.
Yep.
Like, how are you next to a convention center and you're not prepared for people?
Well, not just that. You got the brewery that was actually at the hotel.
Jesus. So anyway, we go from spot to spot to spot. Hour, 90 minutes, hour and a half. And each spot, right? And I'm not exaggerating, each spot that we went to was half filled. So when you walk in, you would see a bunch of empty tables. You're like, oh, we're good. And they're like, yeah, we don't have the staff and our kitchen's backed up.
Yep.
So we made our way down fucking some casino, went in, and it was like I don't even know what the hell you call it, like escape room, casino style, with no signs, to find restaurants that don't exist. That like one employee's like, yeah, that's great. Then the other one's like, yeah, that's not open. To find a food court that's completely abandoned. To being out on the boardwalk and ending up at a rainforest cafe, which I swore in my life, the only time I meet at the fucking rainforest cafe is if I'm with the kids. And once is enough. So not only is it 90 degrees and humid as balls out there, you are now in the Rainforest Cafe, and shout out to them because they kept it authentic. They had the humidity cranked up in there and everything was dirty. And
well, the busboy quit. The busboy quit when we got there.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jose, though. That was the best guy. The best way.
Jose is my dog, and as far as I'm concerned, we could have tipped him 200%. It was not enough for his service.
Oh, that was the best. In the moment we were both pissed because we missed like half the convention, or we missed the half that day. But it's like a good story. Like afterwards, we got done eating at like 5:30, and we're like, well, we're not walking back to the convention, so that's over. So we start walking on the boardwalk because we're like, let's check out the boardwalk. At this point, Jeremy has lost it. Like we're walking and seagulls are everywhere. There's seagulls.
Those weren't seagulls, bro. Those were fucking rats with wings.
They were trying to
attacking you. In that moment, I understood Alfred Hitchcock's The Movie The Birds. I don't understand who the hell owns all that property on an ocean, waterfront property, and they're like, you know what's a good touch? Let's make sure we leave all the garbage on the beach and not clean it up. But let's make sure we have trash everywhere because that's a good look.
How about the mom that was twerking on her side?
Twerking, dancing for a kid, bro. What the? Like, if you want to go people watch, holy shit, that is the spot to go.
Don't
let me tell you something. This is very important because you said, and we just described a very like 3-4 hour period that sucked. Like we left at 1 o'clock to go get food, and we didn't eat till like 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Walking around when it's 90 and humid with all this bullshit, like kind of mad at the world. And Manny rated this trip a 10.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, it's because beyond the cardboard, the people that you're with, the laughs that you're having, the stories that are being told, the experience, it truly was like as much as I never want to do Atlantic City ever again in my life under any circumstance, whatever that turn of phrase is, like I wouldn't take it back for the world.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was pissed in the moment, but you like turned my day upside down when birds started attacking you. It was the best. I lost it because you got attacked by a bird. You looked, there was a squirrel on the wall, and you were like flipping out.
Yeah, like in that moment, I was done. Game over. I am a Hilton girl through and through. Get me the fuck up out of here, dude.
Yeah, so we left, and the day turned around because that's the night we met Cousins Collectible back into cards, and his friend. I'm sorry, I forgot the name of. He has a Facebook group, and we met with Squirts and E that night too. So that was, I mean, it was bad, but we capped it off really well.
Yeah, it was a very. I think at that point everybody had accomplished some sort of goal that they had card related.
Oh, I did.
And you were prepared though.
Yeah.
You had sold to ABC, and I want to touch on them because they did something right, and I feel like they deserve, a thumbs up.
Yeah.
But I think it was an opportunity for everybody to just kind of, for lack of a better term, put their hair down and just kind of have some fun and enjoy the moment and just have some drinks and shoot the breeze.
Yeah. And I mean, I was taking L's and L's, but then it changed. We opened up those Topps Chrome, and I got the Alfonso Davies rookie. So I was pretty pumped about that.
Oh, yeah, that was such a badass experience. So we go to the Borgata. We get into the little glass living room area. That's kind of, I don't want to say it's exclusive. Anybody with a room key can get in there. But we posted up and we're ripping packs. Bah, 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 bah. We live streamed the whole shit. Boom, 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 and just ripping. It was a blast.
Yeah, it was fun. That night was fun. Even though I at that moment I was like, I missed Wednesday. Thursday I was wasting time trying to sell stuff, is what I thought. And then Friday I missed half the day. So I'm kind of down. But then you showed me, this is something where no one sees Jeremy. This is like how great Jeremy is. I think he realized that I was down. And he came up to me, he's like, all right, if you're looking for something, here's the guy. You showed me this dealer. He had Zions, right? He had a couple Zions. And you're like, man, I would do this as a play if I didn't just spend money. Maybe you should look into it. And I held off because I wanted to check up comps on it. And I'm glad I did, because they were a little high. Remember, we kind of discussed that it possibly could be a little bit high.
Well, that's the thing that I want to key in on, is having that network of people you can lean on when you get into something where, hey, internet's kind of goofy, or we can't really tell the difference of the card. Is this a good deal or is this not a good deal? And so you were able, beyond me, we ultimately got to like, hey, this card's overpriced and this is why. But you were able to reach out beyond the network that was there. I think was it maybe double coverage, actually. Big ups to them. Somebody gave you like, hey, no, man, you can get this for like a fraction of the price. Buy it now via eBay.
Yeah, and I mean, they have like that Australian market eBay, right? So they're looking on that. And they actually had internet. So I was texting them at the same time, like, hey, how's this card? Hey, and it was going through. So they were actually helping me out. But when I was looking at that case, I look over. I don't know if did you show me Mbappe, or did I kind of point it? Okay, I was like, there's an Mbappe, and I love that. It had like, it was out of 99 immaculate, and it had a 2-color patch. And I was like, okay, what would you take? I was just trying to gauge what this dealer was saying. I was like, what could you take? And he took out like $400 to $300 or $400 off it right away. Well, before even like negotiation, he's like, I'll give it to you at this price. And it's going to be here. He said it'll probably be here a couple days. And then I looked at another Pedri auto. So I was going to try to do a wheel and deal. I checked comps on Friday on both of them. Couldn't find comps on that Mbappe, but I like the 2-color patch. All the other colors were just the napkin blue from this PSG. So I was like, Jeremy, I'm about to make a deal on this Mbappe. Can you please, because you had the early pass. I was like, can you check to see if it's there? I'm going to be there right on the morning on Saturday. And right when I got there, I went over, made that deal. That was my first card, Mbappe. And then I felt 10 times better in my experience at the National because I made a deal.
So let me tell you, I don't remember if this was immaculate. Was it an immaculate card?
Yep.
So he's got this beautiful, thick stock. I think it was a True Gem or True Gem Plus BGS 9.5 Pop 1 card that's just beautiful. And the material in it, I don't know if it's cleat, jersey, glove. Jersey. I don't know. Jersey, just it looks awesome. It really grabs your attention. I'm gonna fast forward a minute. I said, all right, dude, you own this card, right? You have the opportunity. You can set the market. Nobody knows that this guy dealt it. The guy was like clearly had some late nights, good people, was gambling, but was looking to get some cash. And now a couple days have gone by and people are starting to panic a little bit. So you were well positioned because you had some fire cards and you had some cash. Yeah. So you make the deal, and fast forward, we're at was it Golden Goal? Some table was nothing but soccer.
Yep.
And I was like, hey man, pull out the card. And you know, the moment you pull out the card and everybody's attention shifts from the table, what's in there, to what you're holding and start asking you questions. Like I could tell you, like it was, you were already excited to have the card. It was like that, somebody reaffirming that that's a badass card.
Yeah, and I just needed that kind of thing of people who just deal with soccer. So I went to them, I pulled it out, and this guy next to me like looked and he's like, oh, what are you asking for that? And I didn't even have I just had it in my hand. And I was like, I don't know. I just got it. I got a good deal on it. He's like, he's looking, he's actually a nice guy. He was like, well, you probably can get this for double of what I got it for. So I was like, for real? He's like, yeah, this is a nice patch. It's a premium. It's a gem mint card. It's because Immaculate's a thick card. They're hard grades. So then I went to Miss Sports Card. Shout out to Miss Sports Card. And she's a big soccer collector. And I had the same thing. I just had it out in my hand, and she was like, "What do you want? You want to trade?" And then once she said that, I was like, "All right, I'm happy." So I was like, "I don't really want to trade. I just wanted to." I didn't want to show her that I had it, but I just had it out to see if she noticed, and she did. So
Yeah, I think it was awesome, and like you'd set the tone. So like the dealer, in my opinion, knew you had some interest because we looked at the card. A couple of times we went back and forth, and just in full transparency, if you don't mind, we were both looking at. There was 2 Zions. There was a Don Russ PSA 9 gold numbered out of 10, and then there was an Optic Choice red numbered out of 88 BGS 95 True Gem. And so we were both like, going back and forth. Like, is this an opportunity where maybe we pick this up together, we pick it up individually, and just something that we hold until like the first time he throws down a 360 dunk?
yeah.
And like we'd talked about it a lot the night before. We're like, okay. And I needed the dealer to get down a couple more bucks. And he was just kind of stuck. Like, owner wasn't there. And so ultimately, sometimes the best deals are the ones that you don't make.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, in my mind, I was like, okay, this is easy peasy. I was finding other comps where I felt like even if I just bought it and turned around and sold it on eBay, I was going to, net myself a couple $100. But going there for you, talking about it, understanding what you can and can't do, and then going in and being very like pulling the trigger on what you wanted, I thought it was badass. I was, it's a fun time when you're happier for other people getting cards than you are for the ones that you're getting. Like, it's a sweet feeling.
That's how I was Thursday when you got your big card. I was pumped. But the key, okay, so this is something I learned, and maybe a lot of people don't realize it, but when there's like multiple dealers, just talking to one made me realize, like, that guy that I bought that Mbappe with, remember he told us, he was like, I'll have better deals on the ones that say AG because that's my cards. So then I pinpoint cards that were AGs because he was saying I have to sell the other ones at the price or a little bit less. I can't go any lower. But the AGs with the price tag, I could do whatever you want. So I guess that's advice, is just talking to the dealer. Because if someone just comes up and says, what's this price, and just walks away, you don't get that kind of background knowledge. So that helped too.
Yeah. It doesn't sound sexy or fun, right? But if you have a limited bankroll and you have to be smart, to me, it's a no-brainer. And so to take it back, like the minute I saw AG, I'm like, all right, we were drinking together the night before at the collectible event. We've dapped it up every time we've passed through the hallway. We've shared good laughs. This guy's clearly a good guy. He's already mentioned, without directly saying, I need money.
Yep.
It is like, I would love to sell some cards and go home with some money, or I'd love to have some additional funds to go out at night. Okay, I'm going to start looking for these AGs and see if we can cut a deal.
Yeah, for sure.
And so had you not had those conversations, you never would have been able to do that. Take that a step further, back to ABC Sports Cards, and I just want to give them some credit, in my opinion. Their buying process was this. We are going to look up each and every card. We are going to pay you 75% of the most recent comp. That's sound, not like if everything's like 300 and there's 1 in 1,000, obviously, that's a different story. And if there's a card where we feel like we're taking advantage of you or you can get more money elsewhere, we're going to let you know. And when they did that with you, with the Jonathan Taylor rookie card, that I went back there the very next day, first thing in the morning where they were open, and I sold to them. And I said, you know what? Even if somebody else was going to pay me 85 to 95%, I want to support people who do business the right way. Do you want to talk about what happened with ABC?
What? Oh, about the cards?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like you guys were doing a deal at one time when I'm just walking around. It's the end of the show on Wednesday or Thursday. And I'm like, man, I can't sell my cards to anybody. I kind of want some cash flow because I've seen some bigger cards I want. I went up to him, nicest guys. I was watching them do a deal with another guy, and he was putting sticky notes on the cards and explaining to the actual guy trying to sell the cards why he can't have these certain type of cards. Like, he was telling him basically, your cards are too good for me, but you're going to kill it at this show. if you go to other dealers. I'm going to charge you less because I'm trying to do it as a repack. And he breaks down his repack. There's 4 people. 2 of them get $50 cards. One gets 150, which is like breaking even, and then one gets like a $500 card or something like that. So in my head, I'm like, oh, I have these type of cards. I have the 50, I have the 150 range, and I have the 500. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to sit here and wait. If he's going to give 75% of recent comps, and he was going through to this guy and basically find the deal. He's like, this is what I got in the comp. What do you have? And then he, just to double check to see if they have the same comp, then he puts it on a sticky note and moves on. And then he broke down like the prices and he says, all right, here's 75% off. What do you think? And it was easy. I didn't even have to negotiate because I was going in knowing how his process worked and why he was doing it for the repack. So he didn't want, he even bought cards he didn't do for the repack. I had a Spider-Man, 1990 Spider-Man, and he just wanted it. So he bought it and didn't use it for the repack, but same process. And it was cool because as he's dealing with me, there's another guy that was a dealer with him that liked F1. And he came over and was looking at my cards too and bought some too. So I love their process of doing it. Most dealers should do it because I did go to some dealers and they looked at it. Like, for example, I have a Mariano.
Hold on. I want to before because I want to get to you're back there. They're going through it. Talk about the Jonathan.
Oh, the Jonathan Taylor. Yeah.
The Jonathan Taylor card.
So the Jonathan Taylor card, one sold for raw the same price as a PSA 9. And mine was a SGC 9.5. And he's like, okay, I value this at the same price as the PSA 9 is what he said. And I said, okay, I do too. But he's like, there's a raw card that went $50 more. So this is what I'm going to pay you because of the comp of the PSA 9. He's like, I'm not even going to offer you this card. I don't even want to buy it because I know you could go get it. Someone's going to buy it for more than what I will. And I thought, wow, that's like no dealer is going to do that. They're just going to say, okay, I'm buying it at this price. Do you want it type deal? But he was like refusing. He's not buying this card because the recent sale, it happened yesterday. It was like $300 or $400 or $50 more than what mine was.
Yeah, to me that's, I know that people say do it like the right way, and if you're a dealer or your goal is to buy low, sell high, your inability not to know your own comps or to agree to a deal, one could argue like I'm not doing anything wrong, but for them to draw attention to that and be a decent human being, like I really firmly believe that like the whole pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered.
Yep.
By him doing that the right way, and me and Courtney just sitting back and watching them, and they're engaging, and like they had their kids there working, and it was very family oriented. I told her the next day, I'm like, I'm gonna come back. I'm going to let them see some cards and whatever they want. I'm going to like absolutely no negotiation, no hassle for me because that's the right thing, man.
Yeah.
By them ensuring that you had a positive experience, all that did was make sure that I came back the next day. And now here we are. Don't know these guys. Probably like I know the one guy because he had the Hawaiian shirt with the short coat. So I could probably pick him out. But like I probably wouldn't recognize them in the street, not because they're bad people. But like they had such a positive impact that I will scream from the top of the lungs. Like if you're at a show where they're set up, go. Like because they have their business model dialed in where if they buy at 75% and they sell, they're making their little nut, and it keeps everybody wins.
Yeah, and I mean, I bet they did better than some of the other dealers, because how they were trying to nickel dime some people. Because I experienced that. Like I have I have cards that range from like $700 to $1,000.
Big dog.
Going like this, right? All the dealers were trying to say, okay, this one sold 700 like 2 months ago, but recently is 1,000. I'm only going to give you like 500. And I was like, no. But this guy was like, let's do recent comps, which should be in that 75%. He broke it down before he even saw my cards. So I think that I'm going to take that into consideration. Like when we become dealers at shows, I don't want to waste anybody's time. So I'm going to break down our process of how we buy cards before even looking at their cards.
That's what we've always done is like, as we're talking, you're asking, what are you trying to get out of this? And you're explaining your process. Like, look, I'm not buying this. This isn't a Patrick Williams card. I'm not buying it to hold it. This isn't Kobe White. I am buying it with the intent that I'm going to turn around and sell it. So we have to be somewhere where you get enough cash that you feel good, and I have enough money that I can sell
Yep.
and still make a buck.
Mhm.
And so for that, anybody who's transparent like that, that's easy for me to fuck with because I understand the rules of the game.
Yeah.
The one where it's just like somebody sits there and looks at your card, belittles it, tells you how shitty it is, but then for some reason still wants to buy it. Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to do all that.
Exactly. And that's what kind of brought me down on Wednesday and or Thursday. And I was like, where am I doing here? Because I'm not that type of person. I'm the type of person that I enjoy cards. So I'm not going to belittle a card, especially if I want it. I'm just not that type of person.
So one thing that we haven't touched on, it's important to me that we discuss it because I have a wife who is probably more involved and more active on a day-to-day basis in the hobby than myself.
Yep.
What was it like sharing this experience with my girl? It's Callie, baby.
She realized that like it's a different world than what I've been explaining it to her, right? Because she walks in, there's like 20 to 30,000 people, all these dealers, how much money is in the hobby. Because she's looking at the cards like, well, she's like, babe, this is like 30K. I'm like, yeah, that's 30K. And she's like, her first thing is like, why aren't you like this? I was like, I don't know. You tell me. And then it's funny because you met her, so you know her personality. Throughout the day, she's like critiquing me. She's like, I know why you're not like this. And we break down. She's like, you're too nice. She's like, you got to be more assertive. So that's one thing I learned. I was like, yeah, maybe my wife's right. She's like, you better not be assertive to me, but you got to be assertive when you're out in card shows.
Right. Sure.
She's like, I realize why you go to card shows and don't bring back cards now. It's because you don't like you don't know what she's like. Essentially, you don't know what you're doing. I was like, yeah, you're right. I can't like disagree with you.
But I mean, like, from a supportive standpoint, like, I thought it was awesome. She was there, willing to grind through. You walking the show, feet hurting, hungry, overworked, underpaid. Everybody stank.
Yeah,
like, I thought it was awesome for her to get a little taste of what goes on in your life.
Yeah, it's awesome because she was like, even with dealers, like when I was trying to sell them, she was listening, and then when they give a price, she would yank on my shirt and be like, "No," like whisper. I'm like, "All right, no," and she's like, "Okay, good," because I didn't know if you're gonna say yes or no.
But that's good. Like, there's nothing wrong with having like a team environment. Like, me and Court sometimes have like a little thing. Like, it could be as easy as like if we're in the middle of a deal and I just walk away, that means no dice.
Yeah.
Or if I get very dominant and start taking over, that means that typically means a deal is going to be consummated.
Yeah.
Because she's the starter. Because again, not super comfortable and engaging. I like buying, whether it's as a dealer or at a show. Selling just always feels awkward and uncomfortable to me. You know what I mean? And so like I get it. And so for like to know that Kaylee was, yanking on the back of your shirt and looking out for you, that's cool, man. A lot of people would love to have an extra set of eyes watching their six.
Yeah. Well, she came out and like explained to me that she realized something too. And this could actually help the hobby because it made sense to me. She said the more people you know and the more nice you are with everyone else, the better deal you're going to get. She was realizing that there's people like dealers like that I'm friends with, like Slab Stocks, and like that was Tree's friend that I bought that Mbappe. They're more willing to deal with you, and give you a better deal if you are if you know them. And she's like, all right, so and then she watches like some content with me, and she sees like people buy it, and they're like, okay, I know this guy's a PC person. Let me go sell it to him at a good deal. And that's what she got out of it. She's like, you guys need to like network yourself because then you get the better deals and stuff like that.
That it's true.
Yeah, it's
true. As we've grown reckless, like I know if I get and this hasn't happened, but I'm just using this as an example. I know if I have a badass high-end Peyton Manning card, I'm going right to Drake's PC.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that is where it's going. I know that if I came into a Christian McCaffrey 1-of-1, anything that Chris McGill, Chris Hodge, if he doesn't have it, I know exactly where to go with it. Maxi Kleber, Christina's PC. You know what I mean? Like, so as you build your network, and there's plenty more, right? But as you build your network, you know where like you can pick up cards and right away.
Yeah,
Whether it's to make money or as like trying to help somebody grow their collection, it's a cool feeling.
Yeah, because then you're not just looking for yourself, you're kind of looking for other people, which like you guys, Pat Williams, like I'm the type of like with you guys, I'm not gonna buy it and then try to sell it to you. I took a picture and I was like, go get this card pretty much because I'm not with you when you're like how I see it, and this is where I'm too nice. I consider you guys family. I'm not gonna try to sell. I would never sell you a card. So
Same. And I
yeah,
appreciate it. But I will say, you're gonna want to listen to Courtney and myself do our recap just from our perspective, and you're gonna hear why we think Manny's an asshole.
probably.
Like, and that comes from a place of love. But like, yeah, Manny's an asshole because Manny, who couldn't figure out what the fuck he wants to buy or what he's trying to do.
Oh yeah,
how I'm gonna spend my money.
yeah, you're right.
And he did really good. Like Manny spent my money like 5-figure style.
Yeah, I did. I'm sorry. I feel bad.
No complaints. But isn't that like that speaks to like if you're in it and you're listening to this and you're like, what is this like the community or the stories or the relationships you find yourself? There's people that you meet
and you
grow, you become close with, and you like all of a sudden. And somebody can correct me, whatever the thing is called, it's like there's something in your brain processes everything, but there's like a filter, and based on what's going on in your life, that filter allows you to like actually comprehend. So it's like when you buy like a Ford Mustang, you might not have ever noticed a Ford Mustang on the road before, but now that you have a Ford Mustang, all of a sudden you identify every single Ford Mustang. And it's like that with your hobby friends. Like if you know that they're looking at something, it's like boom, boom, boom. Like if it's F1, I know Spurs Sports Card, EA Scully. Like if it's Peyton Manning, I know that. I know if it's wrestling cards, it's Brett McGrath. Like it's just one of those things. It's crazy. And so part of the fun is, dude, come check this out. Come look at this card. Come look at this card.
Well, it was funny. Like it was fun to see your face light up when I showed you the gold, Pete Will. Like I was like, I felt like I found you a card that you're gonna love. So it made me feel a little bit better about it. I just went a little overboard and found probably 10 gold Patrick Williams as I was looking for my cards.
Dude, again, we weren't going there to buy. We were able to like land to us like probably the biggest card, and to us again, we play like more with the normal folk. We're not 5, 6, 7, 8 figure type, but like it was a big card. And we alluded to the fact that if all things fell into place, it could happen. Well, all things fell into place and then some. So, like, big ups, huge excitement for that. But then, again, even that, Manny, even that is a result of having a relationship with somebody for an extended period of time where they felt inclined based on, my good looks, my charm, my charisma, sex appeal, whatever the case may be, or maybe all of them, check them all. They felt inclined to give us a deal that made it damn near impossible to even say no, even if we wanted to say no.
Well, essentially, they put it in your pocket.
Yes.
No, can I bring up like our clothes, like our brand?
Hell yeah.
So we came up and we were like, yeah, let's get some shirts for National. So we got a couple shirts, and it's Thursday? We're rocking the Too Thicc Pod shirts, and it seemed like everyone loved our Too Thicc Pod shirts. The Ludex guys, we got to give them a couple of the shirts. By the way, they're awesome.
Yeah, we bought more than a couple, and then it just so happened that this never happened. I think Courtney and myself were matching, and you and Kaylee were matching.
Yeah,
and the four of us are out rocking Too Thicc, and the shirts were dope, man. They got. I was expecting some like good feedback. It was almost like uncomfortable the amount of positive feedback I heard, and it's it's truly a really cool, kind, awesome feeling for somebody to first off, like we said, people love negative shit, but for somebody to say something kind, and then also be like, oh, in addition, like the swag is fire. It's like, well, come on, man. It's Manny and Jeremy. We're not on some bullshit.
Well, they were like, "Can we get some?" And in my head, I'm like, "Well, this is kind of." I was telling, it's like the beta. We have some at limited sizes, but we need to make some more and give some out because there's people that wanted them. I mean, I was walking and they were like too thick, and I was like, "Let's go!"
For sure. That was that was so dope. That was such a cool feeling, man.
Yeah.
I was blown back. I was blown back by Court and the amount of people that knew her, and her hat's absolutely fucking crushed. I'm never gonna say anything. She tells me to, like, shit on camera. I'm just gonna do it because clearly she knows what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
And if she says that it's good, the shirts that you designed, because I'm like, whatever, dude, whatever you want to do. And then Courtney's like, my wife told Manny, hey, don't listen to Jeremy. He's a fucking idiot. Do whatever you think is dope, and he'll either fuck with it or he won't. Doesn't matter. We got the shirts done, man, and they were dope, man. They were so dope.
I liked them. Those hats, that the orange hat, you almost kissed a random girl because you thought it was Courtney.
I was like, I was going to give somebody a water. I'm like, hey, babe. Oh, you're not wifey. Ooh.
They didn't even know you as Reckless Cars. They're like, who's that?
I will tell you, the orange shirt made it very nice and, well, at first, nice and easy to like pinpoint when like you would, because I tend to wander. Yeah. Like, it's more like you guys are having like a nice conversation, you're networking. I'm like, ooh, shiny thing. And I'm gonna go look at that, and I'm like, shit, where'd everybody go? I'm like, where's orange hat? Orange hat.
It was so easy to find you guys the first day.
So, all right, let me ask you this: who was the coolest person that you met?
I would say, one that I wouldn't say, there's a lot of cool people. Like, I love Cousins, Squirts. Like, I met them back in the cards. I can name a whole bunch of people. I mean, I met Cage multiple times. Cage is awesome. Jason from DCI. I keep going. The list is going. But one person that surprised me, and he's going to kill me, but I thought he was a meathead at first until I actually met him, was Bro Namath. Bro Namath is awesome. Like, Bro Namath is awesome. At first, I was like, this dude's not going to like me. He's a typical meathead. I mean, what is he? Works franchise with college and hunks. I don't work out. We're not going to click. We clicked. It was awesome. I really enjoyed Bro Namath.
Yeah, that's good people right there, Bro Namath. Yeah. He's a good person.
He was everywhere. Every time I turned a corner, he was right there. So
he was. Now, who did you not get to meet that you were hopeful to meet?
Shay Wave Vlogs. We were trying to find him for a while. Jeremy and I think that he would be great as a guest on our podcast.
I've told Shay for as long as I've known him, I like Shay being whoever the fuck, whatever that is. Please continue to do it and do not change. Don't conform.
Yeah.
Do your own thing. I passed him. We were at a soccer-only trade night. I want to say it was Saturday night.
Yep.
And we passed, and we messaged. He's actually getting ready. I think he's going to do the hobby night school this upcoming Wednesday, and we'll get him on for Too Thick. So that's cool. Like,
yeah, Shay, I didn't meet Shay. Now I'm like thinking, I'm like, I met Trees. Trees is awesome. I knew the Slapstack guys. It just keeps on. AG from All was awesome. Iron Sheik from All. I got to meet him in person. I interviewed him in the past, but the Alt group is awesome. The one person I didn't like, and I'm not going to name who it is, but you're buying your Patrick Williams card, and they're walking like they had security, and it was a girl, and she told me basically, bitch, move, because I'm walking here. And you know exactly who I'm talking about.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I was like, what is going on? This guy acts like he has special security walking around.
It was a situation I would describe like this. If we both looked at each other, and Manny's the sweetest person ever, man. Manny doesn't even step on dew worms in the rain. You know what I mean? Like, he feels bad, like if he hits a fly with a fly swatter.
Yep.
And he looked and he's like, who the does she think she is?
I was so mad. She basically like shoved me out the way because they were walking, and we had to basically get off the red carpet as I'm walking. That's how I felt like.
All right. Favorite moment from the National?
It's funny because it wasn't even it was when walking the boardwalk. It was bad at the moment.
Once again, my pain brings happiness to somebody else.
It was because you're being such a diva and getting attacked by birds, getting attacked by squirrels, um, just complaining the whole time. And Courtney and me are just, and Kaylee are just dying laughing.
Least favorite thing of the National.
The internet not working. But like I said, if you're a veteran like these guys, I mean, they had plays. Like, for example, I didn't bring this up, but I talked to one of my good friends that I met on Twitter for 2.5 years. We known each other, never met. Shout out A&M Sports Cards, and he was like, "Come up here, I gotta show you something." This dude, I get into his room, and it's just stacks and stacks and stacks of like one-of-one cards, flawless. Like there was a LeBron, Julius Erving auto, Kobe auto, and I'm just going through like an amazement. And he's like, "This is what if you did your research and knew all the deals that I had because there was no internet." So he kind of like he succeeded because of the internet, so it wasn't an issue for him.
So that sounds like somebody that went there with the intent to buy, and they were woefully successful.
Oh yeah,
woefully, is that right? They were very successful.
Yes, they were absolutely successful, I would say. I guess, do you like, so the least thing I did, and like it would be like a regret type thing too, is DJ Ski's set, his mob set. I'm so mad. It was like the Honus Wagner cards.
Yeah.
And what he based it on, because Atlantic City was like created by Mob Boss. He had like one where Pete Rose, because he gambled on sports. He had one of like the Black Sox. Were they the Black Sox then or the White Sox when they basically threw the World Series?
I'm a Cubs fan. Nothing surprises me from the White Sox, though. Typical South Side.
I forgot his name. Was it Shoeless or something like that? But he had a card like that. He had Al Capone, all these different cards that I wanted to collect the set, and I totally forgot about it when I was there because I was so overwhelmed. I get on YouTube or I get on Instagram and I saw that the whole set was there, and I'm pretty upset I didn't even grab one.
What piece of advice that you listened to came true and you were glad you listened to, and what piece of advice did you listen to that didn't come true?
I would say you were kind of telling me to hold off. Like I think you knew me, so you knew I was kind of down on myself in the beginning because I didn't make a deal, and holding off actually got me 2 big cards from 2 dealers that were amazing. And what was your second question?
What piece of advice did you listen to or you were aware of that didn't really come true or wasn't like as good of advice or just was not applicable to you?
I would say going in there with a plan because I had a plan. That thing went out the window right when I stepped 2 feet into the National. I would say like next year, I'm going to have a different plan. I'm going to go in and try to go table by table. The problem is I was like trying to stay with you, then I would lose track where I was, and then I would just look at the like general region. But if your main focus is like getting cards, just step through table by table. Mine was more networking, I think. Mine switched right when I walked in, and like I need to go meet people.
That's a very fair point. I think the ability to be flexible and adapt on the fly is important. But I would also say like a unique challenge, and I would encourage people to be mindful of this, is if each person has different interests or different goals, walking the show together at times might be difficult, not because you don't get along, because we enjoy each other's company, we have a good laugh. But like when we get into card mode, the conversation's different. The way we form opinions is different. And if we're looking at different things, I'm more of like the moment I don't think there's any more value to be had,
you're done.
I'm on to the next one where you'll continue to talk, you'll be friendly. And like, to be clear, I'm over the top friendly. I'm never rude to anybody, but it's just a different way. So one thing I would say, and I hope that we remember next year when we do our preview, is that if you're going with some people, make sure you have a game plan. Like, hey, if we get separated, let's meet here. Or, hey, each day, let's take a couple of hours where we wander separately so we can each see what we want to see and then reconnect.
Yeah, I think that's good. And when there's internet, it'd probably be a lot easier because next year I say we tell each other what we're looking for. and then we could cover more
ground.
more
Exactly.
ground. Yeah, and that was like the big thing that maybe we should do next year.
Because I would say like you picked up another awesome card that I want to make sure we touch on, and that was a result of while you were looking at Mbappe, like in that general area, we got separated, and I found a guy who had one showcase. It was like three buddies split one table. He had one showcase and one box, and he was churning stuff, and he was very fair. And I bought some stuff from him, and he had some stuff, and so I said, "Hey, Manny, like I know you're looking to potentially sell, and this guy's got some stuff that I think you would be interested in." You were able actually to go over there and I think make a card for card trade.
Yeah, so that one was kind of cool because I did feel bad for his buddies because no one was looking at his buddies' cards. It was all him because probably he had the best deals. But he seemed so when I showed him my cards, he wanted I had a Russell Wilson Topps auto, BGS 95 Gem Mint. So the problem with that card,
The rookie.
Yeah, the rookie. The problem with that card was the Gem Mint Plus was going way more than the Gem Mint min. And when people look up comps, they're just looking up 9.5s, and they were like trying to argue with me about the comps. This guy realized that it was a Gem Mint Plus, so he gave me another problem was there was a high, there was a little bit of a high comp and a low comp. Well, he was like, all right, I want this card. What do you want? This is what I'm taking for cash. And I was like, how about trade? He gave it to me the value of the comp, trade value, which you don't see dealers do. He's like, okay, we'll do a deal. This is the comp, the last comp. I'll give you trade value as that comp. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, that's a great thing. That's better than what I could get. So there's a Josh Allen Obsidian rookie die cut out of 50. And it was a gem mint. Die cuts are really hard to grade. It had a 4-color patch. So it had blue, red, gray, and white. And I was like, this card's sick. And he was like, it was $100 more than what we valued the trade value. And he was like, just give me $75 and we'll do a trade 1-for-1. I was like, that's sick. So I got that card. I was pumped after that because I was like, I'm done. I feel better now.
And the cool thing about this, because I don't think you're gonna like pat yourself on the back for this, is your entry point on the Russell was a very, very good entry point.
Oh yeah, we got that.
Yeah, so you had upside. And so to move into this card, which in my opinion is, I see the numbered card. That's really hard to grade of a quarterback who a lot of people expect to at least be in the AFC Championship game, let alone like a football, who is like the quarterback.
Yeah.
To move into that and only come out of pocket $75 on a card that you already plus on. Like I thought it was a real sweet, savvy maneuver.
Oh yeah, and I'm literally into that card for way less than what I got it for. And like you said, and when we go to Shipshewana, which is Labor Day, what is it, a week before the gate, like just a week away, people are going to want Josh Allen during that time too. Like people thought, let's sell now, but the closer the season comes, people are going to want it.
So, like in recap, you took a bunch of smaller cards that you didn't care about. You did spend a little bit of cash, but you were able to move some smaller cards and some cash into 2 bigger cards that are both arguably 4-figure cards.
Yes, and higher upside than what the cards that I had.
With more room to grow.
Yes.
So even if they don't grow where you're at now with the cards that you have, you're in a better spot.
Yes.
So and anybody in the soccer world knows Kylian Mbappe is the hottest, youngest, but best guy. Josh Allen, hot, young, one of the top tier quarterbacks, both of which who are in demand in their sport.
Yeah, which we kind of, the reason why I got those two is I don't remember we talked about it in the last week's episode. I used to go for players that I liked. Well, this time I was like thinking, let's go for people who I'm not a Josh Allen fan. So I was like, okay, let me get Josh Allen. Everyone likes Josh Allen. Let me get Mbappe. That's like the best. People think he's going to be the next best soccer player. I'm more of a Chelsea fan. So if I went to National without our talk, I would probably be getting Pulisic cards or Mason Mount. and I'm a Cowboys fan, I'd probably I was trying to find Tony Romo, CeeDee Lamb, like upside Micah Parsons, but I was like, no, you know what? I'm sticking to my guns of what we talked about. So you actually helped me in that situation.
Well, here's the thing. Everybody says just buy what you love. Well, you can buy what you love, but then if nobody wants to buy it, you inevitably run out of money unless you're Manny Flores, where you got like a money tree.
Well, I have a limited, like, I guess you could buy what you love if you have fun. I go off like how we do it as a family. I'm budgeted. Like, I'm limited.
Sure.
I'm trying to expand my budget a little bit. And to expand my budget, I can't buy what I like right now.
So that's one thing that we had to learn because I was buying what I love. Well, then guess what? When I was on my Kobe refractor kick, that was so niche. Like here I am like, man, I've got one of the greatest, top 20 basketball players. See, I did top 20, so nobody can be pissed. He's top 20. Top 20 basketball players all the time. I've got like PSA 10, low pop, numbered, colored refractors. And you take it and the kids are like, do you have any Joe Burrow? Do you have any this? And it's like, nah, but I got like this badass nope. And then, obviously Kobe White and stuff like that. So I think there's a fine balance where you have to like, unless you're going to continue to dump personal finance, and it doesn't hurt to pick up some stuff that other people might covet.
I mean, right now, people are high on, we noticed the quarterback, Zach Wilson. It doesn't matter what quarterback, Zach Wilson, Trask. Kyle Trask is selling high. And I was I'm not going to name him, but I was talking to him. I was like, why are you buying Trask? He's like, because it sells. He's like, during the season, he's not even going to be the starter. Tom Brady is. Yep. But people are buying him now, so I'm going to buy it and like sell it to get some funds to get my PC.
Dude, it's true, man. So you have this incredible experience. You got some cards. You have a little bit of cash. You got to experience it. I think it goes without saying, is it fair to assume that we will see you next year at the 43rd Annual National in Rosemont?
Oh, yeah. And before that, we're going to go to Skyline together to Luddick's show. And I'm going to be peacocking because I'm going to take what I learned and try to do the same thing at a smaller they're not a small show, but it's smaller to the national. So you're going to see a different manual when I go to these shows. I mean, I don't know if am I going to be a dealer with you or?
Sure. Okay. Throw your cards in the showcase. So yeah, August 27th in Rosemont. We'll be at the Skyline and Luddick show. The following week, that holiday weekend, we'll be in Shipshewana. We're actually, Courtney and myself, I don't know if you're going to join us. We're going to be in Cleveland for that show on Saturday for Greeny Sports Cards. They ran a commercial, bro, a radio commercial, and they're like, and Reckless Cards. And I was like, okay, get it, I guess. And then we're going to do the Shipshewana thing. So it's going to be like back-to-back weekends of all card stuff. And I would love for us to be able to go live and do some stuff like that. Closing thoughts on your first ever national.
Went into it, didn't know what to expect, was very overwhelmed, down on myself, but got to meet so many great people and turned it into a positive with getting my 2 cards. So if there's a multiple day show, don't get down on yourself if you don't buy anything in the beginning. It only takes one deal to make you happy.
Dude, I think that's awesome. And again, do what makes you feel good. Like the people throwing around 6 and 7 figure cards, that's them, man. They're playing a different game. They probably didn't start there. They probably started closer to where you're at. So don't get discouraged and celebrate your victories, man. I would say my piece of advice is celebrate your victories because turning $20 into $40, that's a big damn deal.
Yeah.
That's the same as turning $500,000 into $1 million.
Yep.
That's not the same amount of money, but 2xing your money is a big deal. And if you learn from your mistakes, you learn what to do. Each time you're going to get a little bit better, and you never know, 5-10 years from now, maybe that's you.
Well, that, and we also, like, what made me happy too is we were able to kind of, like, in the future, we're setting plans to grow the podcast, and we talked to some great people that maybe will help us, like guests and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, you did an incredible job of that, and unfortunately, I'm probably gonna have to, fucking give you a reach around or something like that to tell you how awesome you are.
No, you don't have to.
You want these deadlift hands, bro.
No. We're partnership. This is both of us. So you grow, I grow.
So Yeah, man, we look forward to you. Thank you for checking it out. Make sure you take your family, take your children to Atlantic City. Have a good time, vacation with the kiddos.
Yep, yep. And hey, Tony, if you're listening, go Cowboys.
Ooh,
We'll end on
ooh, shots fired. Shots fired. So make
have
sure
a
you follow us on all the socials at Thicc Pod, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. And until next time.
peace.